Hello, welcome everyone to this fortnightly tools session for frontline workers. Today we have Susan Downing from ELFT to talk about projects that ELFT do and an event coming up later this month, and Laura Hobbs to talk about the roadmap to personalised care. We were also due to be joined by Alice from our property services, but unfortunately she's had to cancel, so it might be a shorter session than we do usually, but I'm sure she'll be back to present another time. So without further ado, Susan, do you want to kind of talk to us about everything going on at ELFT?
Sure, thanks, Charlie. Okay, first of all, apologies, I'm a little bit croaky. So primarily today I'm going to be talking about an event that's coming up in Hackney at the beginning of November. But I'll just do a little overview, first of all, of the project that I run at ELFT, which is East London NHS Foundation Trust. For anyone who hasn't heard about my cost of living work there. So I'm the cost of living lead at ELFT. I provide practical advice, tips, hacks and strategies to help people reduce how much they spend on household bills and on other everyday living costs. I do draw on my own lived experience as well as keeping an eye on everything that's going on and make contact accessible through a variety of mediums, articles and newsletters, the ELFT website, presentations, webinars and events. And this support is for people employed by or receiving support from ELFT, and also it's for local communities in all of the ELFT boroughs, which includes Hackney, where I focus on supporting residents who are connected with local services, including community mental health, carer groups, Age UK, employment support, and people experiencing homelessness and poverty. That I've been doing a lot of work this year or building connections with Hackney Council and other Hackney services, and also have been building up the level of local information about cost of living support that's available on the ELFT public website. So now moving on to the Cost of Living Support Hackney event, which is taking place on Thursday, the 7th of November. So I had an idea of wanting to create an opportunity that could offer cost of living support to residents, and in particular focusing on the harder to reach groups and encouraging those to come along to an event for people who are not digitally connected, not easily accessible by services mailing lists, or who prefer face-to-face interaction. So this event I've organised will be bringing together local support services and organisations, giving residents a chance to chat with them and access support, local resources and advice face-to-face. So the services and organisations that are participating who've confirmed for this event, it is a stall-based event and the emphasis is on engaging with residents. And those services and organisations who have confirmed, so I've pretty much got a full house. I could probably squeeze in someone else, but so there will be a stall for my cost of living project from ELFT. So that will be providing cost of living advice and tips for saving on daily living and bills, including support to keep warm in the cold months ahead, and will be provided in the format of booklets and information sheets. There will also be a QR code to the ELFT cost of living support section on the Trust public website, which is about 60 pages of information and lots of downloadable leaflets and booklets, and does also cross over with the information that Hackney Council provides as well. The Homerton Digital Inclusion Project, which is a new trial scheme, will be there offering free SIM cards and promoting their digital body scheme. Hackney Libraries will be there promoting their own digital resources, along with the wide variety of free activities and events that they host, and flagging up the availability of donated toys and donated winter coats. Lighthouse Charity will be there promoting their community lunches and other support. Hackney Money Hub and Citizens Advice will both be there. Between them, there'll be 4 advisors in total, including a specialist in universal credit migration, offering benefit and debt advice on the spot. Bags of Taste Cooking Charity will be encouraging people to sign up and gain cooking confidence with simple recipes and free ingredients to start them off, to encourage them to be able to eat well for less. There will be 5-a-day bags of fruit giveaway. Hackney Community Closet Charity will be offering warm clothing and blankets. And also available there will be the Hackney Council Cost of Living booklet and the Hackney Health Watch Neighbourhood Support Scheme leaflet. The details, so it's on Thursday the 7th of November from 10:30 to 2:30 p.m. at the Hackney Opportunity Hub, which is on the corner of Bowling Green Walk and Pitfield Street in N1. It's open to all residents of Hackney and City of London, and there is wheelchair access. I've been promoting it via a Save the Day digital email and digital leaflets, and also printed leaflets, with great thanks to Charlie at Hackney Council for facilitating that. And if anyone here today will be interested in receiving a digital leaflet, a poster that they can print off or circulate, then I've sent it on to John and Charles to pass it on to you. Or if anyone would like any more information about it, or anything, basically, any questions about it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. I'm going to open the floor to questions. Genevieve.
Hello, everybody. Yes, that sounds great, Susan. I would like a flyer, and just in case our temporary accommodation residents might be interested, we give them a quarterly newsletter. It's just gone out, but we might be able to get that out to them for more information and support to help them as well. That'd be great. I'm sure you'll share it.
Can I check, because I already have a distribution list of people who have received printed leaflets. Can I check who the organisation is that you work for to see if they're
Sorry, Hackney Council Benefits and Homeless Prevention.
Okay.
In the strategy and projects team, so we do many things. But you've already talked to Money Hub. I don't know if you're talking to our temporary accommodation placement team or hospital managers or anything like that.
I didn't know, and I'll be honest, I wasn't familiar. There are so many.
There are.
Yeah, it's taking time to make connection and to find out about them. But yes, certainly, I'm sure that Charlie wouldn't mind passing on. And that I've created a PDF which you can either pass on digitally, or you can print it off as a double-sided A4 black and white all colour poster to at least have something to stick on the wall or put on a pin board to highlight, what's happening.
Thank you both. Thanks, Susan. Thanks, Charlie.
We will be promoting the event via the newsletter, as we normally do with cost of living newsletter, but anyone who said that they want their email in the chat, so I'm happy to send them the digital copy, Susan, that Susan's already sent me. Is that all right, Susan?
That's brilliant. Thanks so much for that. Yes.
Yeah. So Rachel, if you pop your email in the chat, I can send you a copy. Does anyone else have any other questions for Susan about the event coming up?
Or about the project I'm running,
Or about the project. I have a question just while people are kind of percolating. So, because I've seen the distribution this season, I know that you're promoting this in a kind of variety of spaces.
I have added a few more since you saw it, but that is the core of it, yes.
Physically, I wonder if you could just kind of talk us through where posters might be, for example.
In fact, I thought someone might ask, so I have it in front of me. So I'll run through quickly. Actually, I have an organised distribution list of everyone who I've done it by post, so it's all been going out. So this is where it's going. So I had a limited amount of leaflets, partly from cost and also because it is a small venue and I didn't want to have so much potential invite that I could actually spoil it for everybody who actually wanted to attend. So I had to cut my cloth to suit the venue that was a really good central accessible venue, which suits the event. So the people on my distribution list. So there's Vivian Cone House, Donald Winnicott. There's the Children and Young People Centre, CAMS, in Homerton, and the John Scott Health Centre, CAMS. There's the Greenhouse GP Surgery, Hackney Recovery College, St Mungo's, the Mary Lloyd Centre, specifically looking at the aged care input there, St Joseph's Hospice, Family Action. If anyone has their address, I can't find one, and I don't know which address to send it to. And Hackney Carers First, again, I haven't heard back from Melanie Cartwell, so if anyone has Carers First address, that would be great. Those are the two people I haven't been able to mail out to. Turning Point, Lighthouse, Step Up at Volunteer Centre Hackney, the libraries, Clapton, Homerton, Stamford Hill and Dalston, Steps, City of London Health Watch, they will distribute that as they think fit. The Homerton Digital Inclusion Project, at St Leonard's, the Louis Friedman Talking Therapies building and the second floor psych services. Also, a small number going out to Hackney Citizens Advice, Hackney Money Hub and Hackney IPS at the Opportunity Hub for their clients. also the ELFT clinicians in primary care, and also hopefully I'm just sorting out a contact, a small amount going to the inpatient ward matrons at the Homerton for ELFT for the people who are being discharged in the next 2 weeks. That's my list. Oh no, I've missed one out actually. Also, oh well, yeah. Also at St Leonard's, there's various different teams, and there's group therapy. Therapists are going to be handing around to all their people in their groups as well. So I think that's everything. Yeah, and also the learning disability group, working together group at ELFT as well, for Hackney. They've got them as well.
It's a kind of really broad list. I was wondering if you could kind of talk to us about kind of how you decided on those particular places.
Yes, because it wasn't random. I did have a very strong strategy, and it was quite tricky because I had to really think about, a limitation on who. Obviously, I've got my digital distribution as well, but for the printed ones, well, what I wanted to do was to focus on the categories of people who I specifically wanted to encourage to come to this event, because many people get digital information from me and can access things from the internet and so forth. And obviously everyone's invited to this event, but I wanted to particularly make sure that there was focus on all the people who would otherwise be left out because of the digital and the not being able to connect with people in person. So based on that, I made sure that I targeted homeless. So St Mungo's and the Greenhouse GP surgery was for homelessness. Then I've got Steps and Turning Point for people who are in that kind of transition of back into things. Then a lot of mental health clinics, both ELFT and outside of ELFT as well. I think I've covered pretty much all of them, I believe. Also, Recovery College, again, a transitional stage. The 2 CAMS departments, that's for the families of young people, to support the families. And also, because ELFT looks at service users, it looks at carers, so the carer groups, again, Family Action is again families. Step Up, again, is a transition for people coming into volunteering as their first step towards sort of rebuilding things. That's usually sort of aim on that. So I think I've kind of covered the main, and also the Citizens Advice and Money Hub and IPS, people who are already struggling and going to people for trying to raise their income, trying to get financial support, and therefore to have an opportunity for their clients to have access to lots of other information that's not specifically financial or related to finding more income or something like that. Then also within that is that the organisations who I've invited and who are attending and will be having stalls and supporting residents, is that, I mean, I chose them very carefully for people who they do support, and therefore I made sure that they are all have leaflets to hand out. Also focusing on the ones with the most high traffic. So, for example, the Greenhouse Surgery, St Mungo's, Donald Winnicott, the libraries, places where. And also Lighthouse, it has 4 different venues for its community lunches. So thinking about those venues where there's high traffic and a lot of people coming through, to catch as many people as quickly as possible, really. And obviously making sure that I covered the primary ELFT sites as well. But they all fit within the criteria I wanted. So.
Thank you, Susan. It sounds like it's going to be a great session. So we've got a question from Rose.
Hi, Susan. Did you say that you'd sent leaflets to CAMS, City and Hackney CAMS?
Yes. Everything's just been going to the post, so it allows time for it to turn up.
Oh, okay.
So the leaflets will be landing on people's desks next week, basically.
Okay. Oh, brilliant. Because I was going to say I haven't seen them. I was getting a bit worried. So.
No. I only got them. They started going out yesterday afternoon, and they'll be turning up next week. So I've sent them to John Scott and also to the Children and Young People Centre in Homerton as well.
Right. I'm a good person for comms and making sure that things are seen and get to young people and families. So you're welcome to take my name and email address as a contact point.
I will do moving forward. I'll add you to my mailing list. The truth of it is that regarding everything, to be honest, to do with this event, is even though I can't believe I actually started planning it in August. Yeah, is that time races by, and
Yep.
I've got all my other support I offer as well. This is one part of everything on 2 days a week. So that the leaflet thing, I needed to really turn it around quickly, and so I haven't always been able to have a point of contact. So some people watching them. I have written leaflet in the corner of every envelope, hoping that will draw people to open them, and they won't think it's some random thing that someone's, some complaint letter or something that someone's sending. So so I will definitely take your details. I mean, meetings like this are perfect for making more connections and adding more people to my network and my mailing list and so on. So I've pasted your details onto a sheet here, so I can.
Right. Can you remind me of the date?
Yes, it's November the 7th. And in fact, actually, someone's just asked, could I put the email? Could I link the email? What do you think, Charlie? Should I link it here, or would you rather mail it?
You can try and link it. I've had troubles attaching PDFs to chats in Google before. You can give it a go.
It's 2 megabytes, so it might not. It might.
If not, I'll send an email to everyone who's popped their email down with an attachment. I can see also that 2 people have come back to you with some addresses that you're asking for.
City and Hackney Carers Centre is based at St Mary. Yes, I've actually already sent a whole load of them to Mary Lloyd. I did put /Age UK because. But I can send more because I don't know. To be honest, I'm not familiar with the Mary Lloyd Centre, whether you've got one centralised reception or whether you've got different teams within it. So I took a guesstimate on that. I mean, basically, Grace at Age UK East London said to send some to Mary Lloyd for the Age UK, but I can send some more as well for the carers.
So the Mary Lloyd does have one central reception, so I'm sure that's where they will go.
I'll see how it goes because as different, I have been adding 1 or 2 extras to the list. You know how it goes. Like, you realise there's another service that would be really amazing to add to, or someone suggests one. So I'm hoping that even though I worked out the allocation, I'm hoping to end up with a few left over, so I can sort of add them somewhere else.
As well as kind of kindly putting in the address of Family Action, Genevieve's had a question in the chat as well, asking, are there any web-based ads? I'm assuming, Genevieve, do you mean, like, do we have any kind of social media kind of presence or that kind of thing?
For this event?
Yes.
No, there haven't been, no. I haven't put anything in the papers and I haven't put anything in social media. It will be the leaflet will be going up onto the ELFT website, which is publicly available, and a lot of people have been made aware by me that exists, so they may see it on there. But I'm not doing I'm not advertising it anywhere in that respect. I'm doing it all through a distribution network, and that is partly because of time. That these things take time to put in place, and I can't do everything at once. But also because, as I mentioned earlier, that it is a small venue, and I don't want to. Although I'm hoping for a good turnout, and I would love to support as many people as possible, I don't want to overwhelm the resources at the event or overcrowd the space to the point where it becomes kind of counterproductive. I don't want people to feel they can't stay because it's too noisy or too busy. So it's kind of getting a balance between hoping to get a good amount of people and support a lot of people and from across the borough, from all the different services and different people who can benefit from support, but without doing a shout out that's so kind of global almost that it could potentially get too much, really. So I've been quite targeted. It's the first one as well, we'll learn from this one.
And if it's any kind of help, Susan, in a program we ran a few years ago, myself and Marcella painstakingly sent many texts to residents about different initiatives going on near them. And what we found was word of mouth was the most effective way about getting people to places, and that kind of online broadcast isn't always the most effective thing. So the leaflets sound like a very effective way.
Well, as I say, because I mean, I found while I've been working on this project that whether it actually ideally in an in-person way, whether somebody hands you something or you speak to somebody, and if at least if you speak to them face to face on an online, that level of connectivity makes all the difference. And that just sending things out digitally without having first met someone or had that sort of level of personalised interaction, it kind of falls on stony ground. It's better to be targeted, I found, and it's build it slowly. So my voice is giving up. So it's kind of encouraging. Well, obviously it's not good to hear that you went to all that effort and it didn't pay off, but it's encouraging to me when people have been saying, oh, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And I've stuck to my guns on how I wanted to do it. And that kind of reassures me that I've gone about it in a way that's sort of not only manageable, but also that I should hopefully get a good uptake for the input.
Fingers crossed for you. I'm sure it will be a great.
Are you going to pop along at some point? Are you free that day to pop in?
I will pop along. Do we have any more questions for Susan about the event or about her other work at ELFT? No, well, okay, we'll move on to the next presentation. But I'm sure if Susan, if you stick around for the there might be some more questions then. Thank you. Fingers crossed. I'm sure everyone's hoping that it's going to be a good day for you. I know those events, when you organise them, can be quite stressful, so make sure you find some time for yourself as well.
Yes, well, it's my first ever event, and I'm doing it on my own, so it's a flaming feat. Thank you for inviting me.
Cup of tea afterwards, and you'll be fine. I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I'm taking the week off afterwards. So.
There we go. For our next presentation, we have Laura Hobbs to talk about the roadmap to personalised care as part of the neighbourhoods. Laura, do you want to talk about the work and kind of give us some context?
Yes, thank you, Charles. I'm going to try and share my screen. I haven't used Google Meets very much before, so I'll just see if this works. 1 second. Lovely. Can you see my screen?
We can.
Yes. Lovely. Hello everyone, my name's Laura. I'm Personalised Care Implementation Manager. I've been working on building personalised care into City and Hackney for the past year. And I just wanted to really quickly, I'm not going to have loads to kind of talk to you about today, but I kind of wanted to tell you a bit about a resource that we've developed. So we've been working with residents really closely about thinking about what personalised care means to residents in City and Hackney. And although personalised care has been around for such a long time, and this is not a new word for us, we wanted to kind of think about personalised care in more of a bespoke City and Hackney perspective, and really thinking about residents and how do we build that in sustainably. So we worked really closely with a steering group of residents. And we came up with My Life, My Plan, which is a roadmap for personalised care. And this is aimed at services. So this is a toolkit, a usable tool, practical guide for people that work with residents. So this isn't for our residents that we work with. This is for any person that works with residents across any organisation in City and Hackney. So we've done lots of work as well with different sectors to kind of make sure this is really applicable to everyone. So it's not just a health tool, it's not just a social care tool or VCS tool, it's for everyone that works with residents in whatever way. I guess it's a bit of background to it is, a lot of people kind of asked us, what do you mean by personalised care? What is this? How do we know we're really doing it? Like, I think I'm doing it, I think I know what I'm doing with this, but it's quite a hard thing to measure an outcome. So we really wanted to start with the basics and kind of revisit the language, really have that shared definition so that everyone was kind of on the same page with this work. So the residents really challenged the language. We have some really useful models in adult social care and in the NHS for personalised care, but they don't really give much direction for us on how to deliver it. And I think a lot of the time we really see personalised care as just kind of the conversations that we're having. So really what we want with this is to show that actually it's more than just conversations. Personalised care, it's about how we work together, about how we engage with people, how the right people accessing our services, the language that we use, the documentation we write, and so on. So there's lots of different parts of personalised care which hopefully the roadmap will really highlight. And obviously we know that there are many health inequalities that we're working with and that residents are experiencing daily. So we know that personalised care is still really needed and it is a solution for this. So we hope that this will be a useful guide. I'm going to just run through so you can have a little look, she says, but it's quite hard to use this. Saying that, sorry, I'm really never used Google Meet before. I'm having an absolute rubbish moment here.
For us, it's still in the first page.
Yeah, sorry. Is it because?
I know it's
how about
maybe,
now?
Yep, that
Okay,
works.
excellent. Sorry, this is very new to me. So yeah, I'm not going to obviously run through the whole document. It's quite lengthy, but I just kind of wanted to show you that it's here, and kind of tell you a bit about it. So it's really not meant to be kind of a tick box exercise or something extra that you have to do. It's more just around a reflective tool to use maybe in meetings, in one-to-ones that you're having, maybe a workshop. And it's really just like when you're thinking about service priorities or ways that you want to adapt your service. We really hope that this might be a useful starting point, and a really practical guide. And we also have lots of different case studies on here and resources that are all based on City and Hackney. So they're all local resources for you that might, maybe give some ideas or just show that, yeah, we're already doing that, we're doing that well. And sort of give you a bit of a starting point with that. So I'll just go through this first page here. So this one's around access. So thinking about, the kind of the barriers that there might be in place for our residents. So things like thinking about the names of any services that we have and the impact on the people that are accessing, or whether that's thinking a bit more about the health literacy aspect of our information. It's just trying to get you to kind of think in a different way, or kind of think about what you're doing well already, and like really try and think about those next steps with some really useful resources. And there's also some information on sort of projects that we've done here. So we've been running using this roadmap as the principles and the values. We've run a breast cancer project, working with residents to understand the barriers, and then also the solutions to how we can increase the uptake of breast cancer screening in City and Hackney. And one of the ways we did this was use creative health. So we ran a creative health workshop with women, which really was amazing, where women came together to express their ideas and solutions through the visual art. And it was really successful, as the women were really brought together around having really open conversations and talking about, how often should they check in their experiences. So there's some different ideas in here about how you can kind of engage with residents, and maybe do things a little bit differently. So that's probably all I have to say about it, really, other than just that it's going to be held on the neighbourhood's website. So it's in quite a useful place for everyone to be able to access, and also the neighbourhood's handbook, which will be brought around really widely. So hopefully it's usable for people, and useful, and open to any questions. But it's quite long, so I just wanted to direct you to it today, and happy to answer any questions. I'm going to go back to the top. There we go.
Thank you, Laura. Does anyone have any questions about the roadmap, or kind of the work that Laura does and how they got there? Just while people are thinking, Laura. Genevieve, perfect, thank you.
Thank you. This is really, really great. I love this roadmap. In benefits and homeless prevention, we use a tube map or train map for our service vision. And so there's a lot of similarities here. And I just went to the City and Hackney Neighborhoods website, and I was just starting where is it in the website?
So it's being launched literally today or tomorrow. So I think the person you've caught me out there, Jamie, but it is going to be on there very shortly. I know my colleague is uploading it as we speak. So apologies, it will be on there though. No, thanks for checking.
The more holistically we work, when especially we've just finished the week of the Women's Rough Sleeping Census, and how you work in communities, having a safe place for women to come and talk. I like this whole idea. And so I really want to have a chance to look at it more closely. This is exciting. So thank you.
And you know, if you want I'm actually finishing in my role, but my colleague who's been working really close with me on this will be continuing in the role. So if you want to, you know, link up and kind of bounce off ideas, let me know. I can put her details in the chat.
Please do. That'd be great.
Thank you.
Apologies, the postman came at a terrible time for me then. I have another question if no one else has one for Laura. Lovely, Hannah.
Hello. I'm wondering, without having seen it, so it's a bit difficult to ask these questions because, yeah, before seeing it, but it looked like it was quite a long document, and I'm wondering if there's a kind of shorter version in a toolkit form, and if there's any sort of links embedded into it, like if it's a bit more interesting or not.
Good question. There isn't, but I have to say, what we've tried is, obviously we don't expect people to use this and do every single area. So what we see it as more of like, okay, you know, we want to maybe look at how we're working, you know, we want to work better with people. Let's think about integration and maybe focus on one area. And then hopefully it's quite easy just to go to that point and just focus on that area. And it kind of refers back to the case studies really easily and has nice links. So there isn't a shorter bit, but I do think when you see it, you'll realise that actually you can really find areas really easily, and hopefully, hopefully it won't be too labour intensive.
Thank you. I also want to say it looks really good. So yeah, thank you for creating it.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
I wondered, Laura, if you could share an example with us. So you speak, I kind of completely agree with you about language really mattering in about how you kind of describe a service. Do you have any examples of the way a service has been named that's made it more accessible or it's made it more open to residents?
So we've been working a bit with the respiratory team in secondary care. So although like I said, this is a tool for everyone, we focus on some certain areas, one of them being this respiratory team. And for instance, they've been looking at changing their service. They had like a pulmonary rehab service. And you know, they did some engagement with residents, and they were, you know, a lot of people felt really put off by going to that because, you know, it really didn't feel very welcoming. It didn't really, you know, they didn't really understand what it meant. So they're actually doing quite a lot of engagement and co-production on that currently, I believe, around kind of changing that name to making it a lot more resident centered. So there's one example that I think is quite nice from just a very health perspective, but I think, you know, that's quite transferable to other areas.
I guess the reason why I asked, and something that kind of resonated in the past, is previously Hackney ran a campaign of warm hubs a few years ago, of which Joycelyn is on the call. She was one of those. But what we found was when you phrase something as a warm hub, it kind of immediately sets up this barrier of idea of you're wanting to be kept warm. Whereas lots of the community organisations we worked with immediately rebranded it as a welcome hub or a welcoming space, which was a much more kind of inclusive way to bring residents in, and that we as a borough didn't necessarily recognise straight away. So yeah, I think the importance of language is really powerful.
So true. Yeah, that's a really great example. And I think it's something that's sometimes overlooked or maybe thought, you know, oh, we'll just do it that way, or, you know, and actually it's so important. And I think that's what we want to get across with this and kind of help with the engagement is, you know, for people to access our services or access, any sort of engagement that should be a priority really. So yeah, totally agree.
Thank you, Laura. Does anyone else have any questions about either this presentation or anything else Laura's mentioned? In that case, thank you very much, Laura. And
thank you so much. I'll get it sent around. I think I sent it to you already, didn't I, Charles? So everyone to have a better look at. Sorry, it's definitely not the space to kind of go into it all today, but hopefully, yeah, you can have a proper look yourself.
It looks like such a fantastic resource, and I'm sure many of us will be using that to kind of how we shape our services going forward. And I know today was your last day in the role focusing on this, so well done for all the hard work you put into it.
Thank you, Charles. Thanks.
If you, just because I'm aware this is your first time using Google as much, if you stop presenting your screen, which should be down at the bottom. Fantastic.
Sorry about that.
No worries. We're aware that Hackney is the kind of the odd one out in that most of the other services will use kind of Teams and other things like that. Well, thank you everyone today. We did initially have one more presentation planned, but that person unfortunately is unwell today. So it's at this point that we open up the meeting. If there's anything anyone wanted to share, any questions people wanted to ask about how to help a specific problem they're facing, but being wary not to mention any resident's name or specific identifying information, as this is a public forum. What have people got going on? Is there anything anyone wants to share? Thank you, Laura. Just while people are thinking on that point, I went to a really great presentation yesterday from a kind of organization called Policy in Practice, and they were sharing a tool that they've developed. I'm just going to stick a link for it in the chat. It's called Rapid Insights, and it's a kind of data collection tool, a data representation tool about poverty in London, based on the kind of representative data from 16 London boroughs. And it's up-to-date information about what poverty looks like across the city. And it kind of is month by month. So it's got really live data right up until kind of August 2024, September, and which isn't usual for local authority data. And it's a great way to kind of see what the real landscape looks like for specific demographic groups. For example, you can filter by, you know, age group or kind of tenure, and to see who's most likely to have been in more increased need in a particular period. And it's just, I thought it was such an impressive and great tool, and I thought I'd share it on this platform. If you're spending time like writing bids, or if you're kind of trying to write reports about kind of changing needs, it seemed like such a great resource. Genevieve.
Thanks, Charlie, for mentioning Policy in Practice. We are one of the 16 boroughs that participates with them, and we are also members of their ELFT dashboard, local information, that helps us identify our target residents based on those who need pension credit, those who are eligible for different benefits, those who may be in rent arrears, those who are in close to poverty levels that need support. And we use them to target the way we reach out to the community to offer support, to offer guidance. And it's been a fabulous tool. I'm very excited about their update of the rapid system as well. But we use the ELFT dashboard. They also offer a benefit calculator that anybody can access as well to take a look at to see if there's any benefits that you or somebody you know may be eligible to receive to help augment their income. So they're a great organization. We work very closely with them. So thanks for mentioning them today.
Genevieve, is that benefits calculator different to the Turn to Us calculator?
Well, there's three that the government recognizes. So they're not different, but they look different, but they do the same thing. So it's Turn to Us, the benefit calculator that Policy in Practice does, and then Entitled To is also another benefit calculator. They're just a little bit different screen, but they ask all the same information. Both Turn to Us and Policy in Practice offer some guidance on budgeting. They also let you look at if you're on legacy benefits versus switching to universal credit, although there's not too many people left in legacy benefits as everyone's being migrated over to universal credit. So yes, there's three, and those are the three.
Thank you. That's a really useful piece of information. I know that lots of services are familiar with Turn to Us, but I wasn't aware that the benefit Policy in Practice had one. So it's a great steer. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share or something useful they've come across in the last couple of weeks that they think would a wider audience would benefit from? Genevieve.
Oh, I'm so chatty today. But obviously we're getting very close to now that Labour is in government, the Renters' Rights Bill. It was called the Renters' Reform Bill when the Conservatives were in. Now it's the Renters' Rights Bill. It's going through, it's moving pretty smoothly. It's off to the Lords. We're not expecting too much challenge there. So we're targeting that by summer 2025, which is, you know, a 3-month window, that it may come into effect. And what's currently in the proposal is that any changes, which gets rid of the Section 21 no fault evictions and ending assured short-hold tenancies, turning them all into assured tenancies, is that both existing and new tenancies will become assured. So people won't have to wait for their current fixed term to end. It will automatically become an assured. So that'll be interesting to see if that point is left. There's some other things going on, which there's plenty of data out there, which to me, that's one of the most fascinating things. But really, when you think about it, if you only have 6 months left on your tenancy, or maybe a year, there's not much term left before it's going to be, you know, if you're going to renew, it's going to be assured. So basically, there's no end to your tenancy. And the changes are residents now, if you want to leave, you have to give a 60-day notice to your landlord. If the landlord is going to wants the property back to sell it or move back into it, that landlord must now give 4 months notice. And then he is precluded from renting it out for a year if you've been given that notice that he's either going to sell. I say he, but you know, I mean, the landlord, he or she, will either sell it or move back in. If they don't sell it or move back in, they can't rent it back out for a year. So that, I think, is going to slow some people down, possibly. But anyway, so that's the way it's looking right. And I think the reason they want it to happen simultaneously, in my opinion, it's probably been said before, but it's to stop those landlords from rushing to issue Section 21s that will go away at the end of that fixed term. So it's like, once it's signed, it'll be the done deal for everybody. So I think that's kind of exciting to see those reforms coming.
That's fascinating, Genevieve, and really important for lots of Hackney residents. I wonder, as it's progressing, if you can keep us updated from kind of from benefits and housing needs perspective, or benefits and homeless prevention. Sorry.
Yes, yeah, we did change our name. We've been attending. There's a couple of different areas that are putting on informational sessions to keep us posted on what it looks like as it goes through the approval process. And it's pretty much, we're not too surprised at what's happening. We've prepared a draft for our internal service. We haven't released it yet. Once we get permission to release that, I'll share that with you.
Thank you very much. I know many organisations would appreciate that. We know that those in the private renter sector are some of the more volatile positions at the moment, so that would be really appreciated.
Sure, happy.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share or kind of promote as we're kind of coming up towards 5 o'clock? Pauline, I can see you just joined, not to put you on the spot, but how's everything at Money Hub?
Hi all, sorry I'm late. Money Hub is going well, and the outreach stuff is going brilliantly. I had yesterday, as a result, we do work with various groups on the outreach, and we're working in particularly with the community wellbeing. I go out every Friday with them. We're catching those people who wouldn't necessarily either go into the service centre or have the capacity to go online. And some of their support workers are familiar with where we are out on the road, and they bring their residents there for support, which is working out brilliantly.
I'm really glad to hear it. And thank you for giving us that update. I know that you guys are out there all the time helping residents, so it's great to hear about it. And I think you'll be at Susan's event on the 7th of November. Is the 7th, isn't it, Susan?
It is, yes. I don't think I somewhere I've got the name of who. I don't know, Pauline, if you're the person who's coming along from Money Hub to the cost of living support event.
No, not me. Maybe another one of my colleagues.
I think it's is it Maya, I think.
Oh, Maya, yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember now whether she said she was coming or she's sending somebody else, to be honest. I have got it all written down, but there's a lot. Trying to remember everything in my head in the moment sometimes is a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? She's sending 2 people, and I don't think she's told me who they are. But obviously, okay. Yes. But you will be your team will be represented there on the day. Yes.
The other thing we did as well, we attacked the Homerton on Tuesday. We're sort of going to be doing regular pop-ups there, just to catch that group, that either with, you know, especially you've got the OT team there that will have residents who need support, and also the PALs, I guess they will have people in various things, and other sections that we thought might be useful to, and we'll have traffic going by so we can support those residents as the you know, without them having to sort of make a further either a call or coming into the service centre.
That sounds like a great idea. We know that lots of residents present to A&E at the Homerton when their issues aren't necessarily medical, they'd be kind of financial or social. So that's a really good idea for Money Hub. Did anyone else have anything they'd like to share before I call the meeting to a close? Okay, no one's jumping, but thank you very much for all attending today. Thank you for our speakers, Susan and Laura Hobbs from Personalised Care. We're all wishing Susan that the event goes really well when it comes, and we'll promote again closer to the time. Thank you all for being here. At the next session, in 2 weeks' time, we have Molly from Groundwork to talk about their corporate volunteering offer. And we have Juliet Carter and John Carubo from Hackney Works and Employment and Skills to talk about initiatives they're running. Look forward to seeing many of you then, if not before, and I hope you'll enjoy the rest of your day. And how lovely it looks outside, so please go and enjoy it.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Charlie.
everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody.
See you all. Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye.